Richmond Raceway. The SNN Xfinity Series is ready to battle it out here in Old Virginia. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the River City. After our week of road racing at COTA, we're here at the most iconic three-quarter-mile stretch of asphalt on the NASCAR circuit. The King himself owns almost every record at this track in the real world, but tonight, one of our incredibly talented drivers in this league looks to make their mark here at Richmond Raceway. Mike Wright notched his first win at the Circuit of the Americas last week, and now we look to see if he can keep that momentum going as he navigates through this field tonight. I'm Dave Regal here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, and as always, I'm thrilled to be with you every step of the way. From the green flag to the checkered flag, right here on Sim Racing Media. And folks, I am excited to be able to get here into the booth tonight, as right now we're taking a look at Parker Retzlaff driving the number 5 Chevrolet Camaro out of the JAR-TCR Racing stable. And the fun fact about Parker is that he actually won the pole Saturday in the real real Xfinity Series. So we get to see how he gets through here tonight in the sim, as he doesn't like what he sees here on the first lap. He's going to wind up resetting here and going at it again from pit road. So, you know, this is one of those times where the digital world meets the real world, as Parker Retzlaff here resets one more time, as he's going to get himself all dialed in here. Dennis Mickelson, in his debut race here in the Xfinity Series, trying to lay down his first qualifying lap. He goes 17th fastest as Retzlaff comes off of pit road. We'll talk about the details of his racing career as he's out here tonight from the JAR-TCR stable. Parker here going to take the high line. He's only got one lap to do this now, as he's already just about halfway through what would be his second lap. He gets loose coming out of 2, as he is loose as a goose coming down the backstretch into turn 3. Parker Retzlaff rolling out of 4 through the restart zone, crossing the start-finish line. He is going to net himself, well, whether you get loose or not, a 21.6. That's 200th faster than he was in practice earlier. Hopefully we get a chance to chat with him later. I just had a brief moment to talk with him before coming on the air. Matt Metler here from the Mid-South, my teammate on Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series action, is sideways. Matt, I feel like we've had this discussion multiple times. You can't drive the race car that away, as just a couple of drivers haven't gone out to qualify yet tonight. So we're going to get ready to rock and roll here. 250 laps, the scheduled distance tonight, as we pull up that race info here on your screen. 73 degrees in the bleachers as we're simulating the weather that was on Saturday. 87 degrees the track temperature here during qualifying. So we're going to see a lot of grip in this racetrack as Metler goes 37th fastest. That may not be good enough to make the cut for tonight. Steve Herring goes 32nd fastest, and Rodrigo Logaloga here in the 03 just went 3rd fastest here at Richmond. So glad to have everybody in with us tonight as we take a peek here at our points. Eugenio Alonso leads the way in points tonight here in the Xfinity Series. He's already got 1 win, 3 top 5s, and 3 top 10s, out of the Jack Dow Motorsports group. Brandon Minto is tied for first right now, as he's got 5 top 10s, 3 top 5s, and a win under his belt. For Ferta, of course, out of Norman, Oklahoma, Mike Wright running in 3rd right now. Mike McConville out of that JAR-TCR stable from Cape May, New Jersey. He runs in 4th. He's climbed up a spot. He switches positions with Alexander Gangler, who drops to 5th. Tane Hodison in 6th. Nick Hansen in 7th. Alex Princeton runs in 8th with Tony Burt and Chris Claude rounding out the top 10 in points, as Chris Claude is actually tied with Ron Fitting, as Claude's got a top 5 and a top 10 on the season with 109 points this year so far. So it's been a red letter season for Claude, who, you know, usually comes in very conservatively at the beginning of each year. And, you know, he is Mr. Consistency, getting it done. But right now, story of the night is Parker Retzlaff takes on the real world Richmond Raceway and winds up netting himself the pole. He does the same thing tonight with just 1 lap under his belt. Anthony Savignano being timed in second, as just about everybody has put on their qualifying times, with the exception of Rich Jett, Sylvain Joly, and John Bawalda. Going to see if Mettler is available here. I don't see him here in our Discord channel, so I don't know where he might be. But we will get a chance to talk with points leader Eugenio Alonso. Hey, Eugenio, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Hey, Dave, I got you, man.
Hey, man, listen, you sit atop the pile one more time here for points. I mean, at this point, things are getting a little tight, here as you and Brandon Minto share that top spot. How are you feeling coming into this race tonight at Richmond?
This race really, really hard. I will try to keep my car clean, to try to fight at the end.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't run a good lap in qualify and start in the middle. It's really danger.
Yeah, starting there in the middle is definitely kind of a headache for everybody because you've got all kinds of mayhem all around you. But what's going to be your strategy? Is it going to be try to get yourself to the front, or maybe hang back and let other people make mistakes around you?
I will try to stay in my position, saving tires, and see what happens.
All right, buddy. Well, listen, congrats on maintaining your position lead here in the points, and hey, you never know, you might wind up coming out on top again.
Will be great. Thank you, man.
Yes, sir. As we're going to send him on back up into the Jack Dow Motorsports stable, we're going to go here to Ferda Motorsports, of course, with our other driver who is tied atop the points, Brandon Minto out of Norman, Oklahoma. Hey, Brandon, it's Dave. You got me?
Yes, sir. I got you, Dave.
Well, buddy, listen, I mean, here you are in a tight battle, obviously tied atop the pile in the point standings. What are you thinking coming into tonight's race as you're going to be starting 24th? And Eugenio also mixed in here as he's going to be starting 8th.
I'm going to need lots of prayers tonight trying to survive. I am not good at Richmond at all, as you can tell by my P24 starting position. I would need as much help as I can get. Hopefully, a little luck avoiding some cautions and everything, but just try to keep all 4 tires underneath me, don't self-spin, and hopefully I can come out with at least like a top 10 finish today.
Well, now they tell me that I can't be biased, so I'm not sure if I'm allowed to pray for you tonight, but the only thing I can do is offer you a sip of some Captain Morgan Long Island iced tea. That's the best I can do for you.
That'll do.
As long as you and Uncle Scott are fine with it, I know that you guys are the standing order for all of the libations and entertainment here. I mean, listen, you bring a lot of eyeballs to the screen, and, it's something that over the last couple of years of racing with and then broadcasting you, that you've really kind of gained a lot of steam and a lot of discipline. What do you credit that to?
I give a lot of credit to Mike Wright. He's coached me through a lot of stuff and how to just maintain calm, keep my composure going. Like, even if I'm getting raced a little harder or anything, like, Mike is one of the most calmest people I've ever met in my life. So he's able to keep a level head on my shoulders and the just experience of racing all the time and noticing if I'm doing some side-by-side racing with somebody who's obviously faster than me, that just makes us both lose time. So kind of just let them go, and then I just try to follow in their footsteps and just follow them through. And then maybe they make some passes that'll help make passes for me later in the run. So instead of being aggressive the whole entire
Raceway, 250 laps the scheduled distance. Stage 1 going to end at the conclusion of lap number 75, and Stage 2 going to end at the conclusion of lap 150 tonight. So going to lay 4, have 5 total. So we're looking at a pit length of about 50 laps. If you want to use all 5 sets of your tires side by side, goes Anthony Savignano here in the New York Yankees number 50 Toyota Supra. Parker Retzlaff laying fast time down at 22.13 as we work lap number 3. Mike Wright in the 98, he's got that Ford Mustang cranked up all the way to crazy, as after he picked up the win last week, he's going to have to keep himself, nice and steady tonight so we don't make any mistakes. Meanwhile, Bobby Blazer making his return here to the Xfinity ranks in the number 90 B-Blaze Vintage Ford Mustang. Kavaja Holt in the 00 mobile machine. He's running in 6th position right now. Lots of side-by-side, or tight action, I should say, here on the racetrack. Aaron Mack running in 10th, as these drivers getting themselves a nice, safe, start here. We don't see anything crazy, as Retzlaff just ripped off a 22-second lap atop the pile. He's now gapping Savignano by about just less than 2/10, and now it is 2/10 of a second. Starting to get a little dicey back here as we take a look at Aaron Mack in the 31. We can see Mack here in the U.S. Army Esports Chevrolet Camaro doing side-by-side battle now with Nick Hansen in the 99 Rally Drum Premium Lager Chevrolet. So may not be a baseball theme, but at least it looks like they want it to be. Mike McConville, I was hoping to see him in a Philadelphia Phillies paint scheme tonight in the Dynamic Express 1 machine, running in 10th position, already up 2 in that JR TCR number 1 machine. He's got Michael Astuto in the 39 behind him, another New York Yankees paint scheme. Let's just go back here and see what old Chris has got. I'm going to throw up. Chris Claude, why would you do that to me? Why? In the number 10, I don't even know if I can say it. The number 10, it's the number 10 Toyota Supra. Of course, usually it's the Monster Energy Toyota Supra, but Chris Claude, a diehard Atlanta Braves fan, and I it is what it is. I can't be upset, because if I was out there, I'd be beating and banging against him in a Phillies paint scheme. It is what it is. Brandon Minto saves the day. Go ahead, Brandon. Now we're biased. I told him earlier that I couldn't pray for him because, it would be biased. But you know what? It is what it is right now. Let's take a look at Norman, Oklahoma's very own Brandon Minto here in the number 12. That's Kyle Schwarber's number, and it's the proper font too here on that Phillies machine. Of course, using a little bit of that cream color that you see the Phillies wear during day games on the weekends, Saturdays and Sundays. The perfect paint scheme I thought didn't exist, and there it is. As all of a sudden, he has now worked his way up 2 slots here into 22nd. So thank you, Brandon Minto, for saving the day and the paint scheme and bringing me just a little bit of joy here as we take a look further back. Chris Custer out of Ohio. Let's see if he's got one of the Ohio teams. Nope. Looking to see if I see any other baseball themes. You know what? Dan Morgan gets credit for some really cool stuff here. As oh dear. Something's going on with a connection. As all of a sudden, there it is. Parker Retzlaff must be having a connection issue, as I see some other drivers here with connection issues, just shuffling through timing and scoring. We'll have to keep an eye on that as we go deeper here into the night. John Bawalda out of Bel Air, Maryland here in the 51. Caution number 1 flies here on lap 13, as Kavaja Holt may have brought everything to a halt. We're going to take a look here and see what happens to Kavaja in that 00 Mobile 1 Ford. Oh, he gets clipped by the 99 of Nick Hansen and sent around. Let's see if we can get Hansen's perspective here, as we're going to take a look and see exactly what went on here with Kavaja. Now, he's watching the 16 of Zach Vaughn go low. Vaughn a little wild coming into turn 1, but then out of nowhere, it just looks like maybe Hansen washed up the track a little bit, maybe fighting a tight condition early on in this race. Bumps in here. As now we're going to get a chance to talk to our pole sitter, Parker Retzlaff. Hey, Parker, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got me?
I got you.
Hey, man, listen, welcome here to Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series action. You got the pole on Saturday in the real-life race. You have the pole tonight here. What's going to be the strategy, getting through these 250 laps at Richmond?
I think my strategy right now is just to run consistent laps every lap and make sure I'm there at the end. I don't do anything wild and put myself in a bad position.
Yeah, you wound up your best time tonight so far, 22 seconds, and we talked real briefly about whether or not, the sim translates, and of course tonight you said you were running just slightly faster in the sim than you were in real life. What does it feel like, going from real life into the sim? Is it hard to make that transition or not?
No, I think it makes it easier. Like, I did some sim stuff before I actually left for the real race, but I think it all makes it easier because you know what you're looking for. Where everything is on the racetrack when you do get to the real track, or when I come back to doing the sim races. And it's been really fun so far. I don't do a lot of racing anymore, so it's been kind of fun to get back in here. I have a lot of cars, and it's looking pretty good so far.
Yeah, we're generally pretty proud of how many cars we're able to get on the racetrack on a Monday night, especially here in the beginning of the work week, everybody, with day job.
Thank you.
That, of course, the voice of Parker Retzlaff, driver of the real-life number 31 Jordan Anderson Racing Chevrolet, as we're going to move him back up in here to the JAR-TCR chat. As, of course, we're in a one-man show, so it's pretty hard to try to pull that all together. Zachary Gallo saying, who's racing? This is Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series action. And Parker, I'm telling you, Mr. Gallo, I'm telling you right here. I did get that right. Zachary, I'm sorry. I don't know where I got Parker from. But Zachary, listen, this is the best racing you're going to find any week at all here on the iRacing.com servers. That's for sure. As I'm trying to find out what's going on here with our server. Looks like something strange happening. We're going to have to take a peek and see what's going on. Oh, it's going to be that kind of a night, I can tell. Skirt Kirk saying, Archer, bring it home. I'm not sure who Archer is, but I'll tell you who is going to bring it home. Parker Retzlaff going to bring it back to the start-finish line. The green flag waves, and we're underway. Retzlaff getting a good jump over the rest of the field. He's already gapping Savignano by 0.3 of a second. Meanwhile, back here at the ranch, they are side by side. That's Mike McConville duking it out with Zach Osborne here in the 16. Just ahead of them is Bobby Blazer and the 26 of Eugenio Alonso. Eugenio in an alternate paint scheme tonight, showing off that a lot cleaner property management and maintenance paint scheme, I'm fairly certain. There on the rear deck lid. And the admin box, the admin box ad right there on the side as, wow, what a launch he gets into 3, just behind Mike Wright. Now, Mike Wright in that Baltimore Orioles number 98, he's running right now where he started this race. So, at this stage, might as well hit your marks. And Parker Retzlaff kind of laid that out for us. He kind of alluded to the fact that, hey, hit your marks, run a consistent race, and that's exactly what Norman, Oklahoma's very own. Oh my, well, that's an interesting timing problem. all of a sudden, I'm trying to find, there it is. Anyway, what Norman, Oklahoma's very own Brandon Minto had talked about. Whoa, the 03 washes out right in front of Mike Wright. We're going to go under caution for the second time tonight. As we were just there, let's see if we can catch a peek at this. We're going to ride along with Mike Wright here coming through. Oh, that was the 03 of Rodrigo Loga. Let's see if we can maybe take a closer look here from his perspective. Do like the hairstyle though for Rodrigo as he comes in just behind the 50 of Anthony Savignano, and the rear end steps out and just keeps coming around, and that's something that we see a lot of on turn exit here at Richmond. He manages to just kind of pirouette alone. He doesn't catch anybody, or at least it appears he doesn't catch anybody. As, you know, that's something that's unfortunate for Rodrigo as he goes from, you know, up here in that top 5 to way back here in 16th. But right now, I've got to do it. I've got to ask him, as we're going to get a hold of Chris Claude, because you don't get to put the Atlanta Braves on the side of your car without getting a little ribbing from up here in the broadcast booth. Hey, Chris, it's Dave. You got me?
Yeah, I do.
Let's talk about this. What went through your mind? Did you just say, I'm going to wake up this morning and say, I hate Dave?
Well, something had to counteract. I'm sure your love fest with Brandon Minto and his Philly scheme. So, you know, we got to have some balance here, Dave.
Look,
come on.
He's even got Kyle Schwarber's number. I mean, I realize, okay, Chipper Jones, I will allow it. Okay, but Chipper Jones ruined my life. We've discussed this, you know. Right. And for the folks at home, peeling back the curtain, I was down at spring training, and the first person I thought of, because the first spring training game that I caught this year was the Atlanta Braves and the Pittsburgh Pirates. And as I come up the steps, I see all of these names that I know Chris Claude just salivates over as I walked up the steps and got literally nauseous as I watched my childhood flash before my eyes. Chris, the car looks great tonight. How does the car feel?
It's a lot different than the Cup car, obviously. I say that every week, and I struggle in this car a lot more. So I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pull a rabbit out of my hat like I did last night. But I'm hanging in there so far. The cautions are helping. I don't like all the cautions, but they at least keep me, you know, in a fighting position.
Yeah, I mean, right now you're up 2 positions after qualifying in 19th. I mean, competition was very tight all night long in qualifying. I mean, some guys were losing it. Do you feel like you're getting that loose condition on turn exit? Because I've seen that many times now tonight here during the race.
Yeah, I'm having to baby the throttle. It will absolutely snap if you get on it too hard, and it's actually better for me to manage my race anyway, so I can be easier on the tires, and hopefully they'll last longer. We don't have, you know, we only have 4 additional sets, so we really need to manage them pretty well.
All right, man. Well, listen, good luck tonight. Of course, you know, you've got that pit window to work with. It looks like you're going to be able to rip through there. I mean, last night we had lots of drivers that were in triple digits, you know, on the fuel run, but maybe those tires are going to give up tonight for you. We'll see what happens. So congrats there on the qualifying effort. Nice paint scheme. I'll say it, and I may not mean it, but I'll at least say it.
Hey, it's just how it looks. You don't have to like the team. Just, you know, appreciate the.
No, it does look nice. That's a nice paint scheme. Good luck tonight, buddy.
All right, thank you.
Of course, that is Chris Claude, driver of the number 10, the Chipper Jones version of the Atlanta Braves. And you know what? If I was Chris Claude, and maybe it's just because I'm a psychotic baseball fan, I would be running that all year long. It looks like a nice paint scheme. I don't even know if I want to talk to Savignano yet tonight, because as much as I love baseball, the Yankees are still the evil empire that ruined my 2009 season. The Phillies, of course, win 102 games that year and still managed to lose to the Yankees in 2009. So thanks for that one, fellas. Bobby Blazer here in the B-Blaze Vintage number 90 out of York, Pennsylvania. So another Pennsylvanian in this league, and that's something that we see a lot of. For some reason, it just seems like a lot of Pennsylvanians, you know, gravitated toward this as Parker Retzlaff rolls here into the Geico restart zone, drops the hammer, and we're back underway. Eugenio Alonso and Bobby Blazer very close side by side as everybody is door handle to door handle for about 4, maybe almost 5 car lengths here. We take a look here at Sylvain Joly in the 08 Accent LED Ford Mustang. Right now, he's trying to battle it out with the 43 of his teammate, Claude Ferland, who is side by side now with Michael Astuto in his number 39 New York Yankees pinstriped Ford Mustang. And you know what? I'm going to give it to Astuto here. The pinstripes are a nice touch. I'll give you that one. It still isn't going to be anything compared to Brandon Minto here in the 12. I love the bell. So maybe he gets a chance to ring the bell tonight as we take a peek further back in line. Tony Burt running in fourth, running the number 4 in 25th position, up 11 from where he had begun this night. Corey Burkett down 4 positions. Kavaja Holt, of course, down 24. John Bawalda in the 51 is up 6. Right now, your biggest mover in the up direction is Zachary Vaughn here in the mellow yellow number 73. Following the target machine of Seba Cornez, it's Target and Cottonelle. So a tip of the cap there to, I think it was Juan Pablo Montoya, but I'm not 100% positive. I vaguely recall that from way back. But Parker Retzlaff opening up a 1.13 second gap over Savignano here on lap number 33. We're working our way toward lap number 75 as Savignano, I'd say he's in hot pursuit, but he's more like falling back and can't figure out what to throw at Parker Retzlaff, as they can't even afford to throw haymakers. He and Wright are going to have to work together and maybe put their differences aside to make it up there as we go under caution again. This time it's going to be Claude Ferland. We'll take a look here from our blimp cam and see what happened with Claude. One of our neighbors from the north here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series League. As we see Claude here in the 43, he comes to go back into single file. Oh! And right across the nose of the 25. My goodness, that was not recommended. As Dennis Mickelson kind of got the worst of that. We're going to take a look from Mickelson's nose. So Claude Ferland already taking responsibility there as we ride along with Mickelson. We're going to see Mickelson here underneath Ferland, and it looks like Ferland goes to split and just does not make it there. Ugh. And sends Mickelson for a spin. Fortunately, the speed wasn't high enough to do any severe damage, so Mickelson should be okay at this stage in the race. But of course, right now, as he just asked on race radio, I don't believe he's got a front bumper. Well, maybe he's got it now. We'll try to find a camera that's nearby. As we're going to see, here we go, his rear chase cam. Yep, he does have his front bumper back, so that's a blessing in and of itself. Alex Brinson quietly clawing his way up through the standings tonight, +8 right now on timing and scoring. Ethan Ball, though, up 16, running the 96 Chevrolet Camaro right now in 13th after starting in 29th. So a big night for him. Of course, going the wrong direction is Kavaja Holt, all the way back in 26th now after being as high as 6th from where he had qualified. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight with us here on Sim Racing Media. I'm Dave Regal. This is the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast Booth. Saying, woo, Chris, let's go. Go, Chris. Virgo 22 maybe doesn't appreciate me very much, but that's fine. Brandon Minto, Boomer Sooner, go get her done from Regine Huddleston. Vivian Minto cheering on Brandon Minto. So glad to have everybody with us as we're already up over 100 viewers tonight. Let's make our goal tonight to hit that 300 mark as we did last night in the Cup Series, because I'll tell you what, that was impressive to watch everybody checking in, seeing what we were doing here on Sim Racing Media. It's always exciting when we know that there are a lot more eyeballs on us. As, it's something that we pride ourselves in. And, of course, tonight, how often do you get to say that Saturday's pole sitter happens to be on the front row here tonight as he is side by side with Anthony Savignano. Parker Retzlaff driver, the number 31 Chevrolet in the real-life Xfinity Series, takes off right here in front of Anthony Savignano in the Funkaway, number 5 tonight. As Savignano going to have to battle it out with Mike Wright. Mike Wright knifing his way underneath Savignano, and he's looking for some kind of help, but he doesn't get it, as it looks like maybe Wright is trying to tire save a little bit. He definitely backs off the throttle before Savignano, who really seems to be coming in pretty hot. We're going to watch that again when we get a chance. As, you know, when you see somebody getting a great run on entry, that also means that they're driving it in there a lot harder versus getting a great run on exit where they're coming out a lot smoother, a lot more controlled, and a lot more poised. "40 laps in the books here at Richmond Raceway." Dave Regal in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth right here on Sim Racing Media. Glad to have everybody in with us tonight. Parker Retzlaff, your race leader here in the number 5 Funkaway Chevrolet Camaro. He's followed by Anthony Savignano, Mike Wright, Bobby Blazer, and Zach Osborne, your top 5. These drivers, I'll tell you what, they usually are pretty tight here on the racetrack. They're not disappointing us whatsoever, as right now we work lap number 41, so we've got about 35 laps to the end of stage number 1 here, as Eugenio Alonso getting ready to crack his way here into the top 5. Sylvain Joly starting to back off of Eugenio while we've got a pretty good battle here for 19th position. The 91 of Brad Gunn coming after the 18th slot that Chris Claude is sitting in. As we suddenly go under caution once again. Perhaps this one caused by Keith Black. We see Keith Black here in the 87. Wow. Bumping the 07 and just nosing his way into the wall. There goes the front clip. That was the 07 driven by Corey Burkett, who got the worst end of that. We'll take a look here from the gearbox of Corey Burkett. And we see here from Corey Burkett, there's the 87 just nosing right into him. And there he goes. Woof. As Corey Burkett gets away easy with that one. As we're under caution, we're going to step aside and pay some bills here on Sim Racing Media. I'm Dave Regal, and this is Sim Racing Media.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Masker can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by
outside. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom. Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh my
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Welcome back to Richmond Raceway, where the iRacing.com pace car peels down pit road. Parker Retzlaff hits the Geico restart zone, and we're back underway. Keith Black bringing out the caution that time here as we are on lap number 48, working our way toward lap number 75 here in stage 1 at Richmond Raceway here in the River City. Just about 45 minutes an hour from Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. As we sit here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth in the Cradle of Liberty just outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Mike Wright in the 98 doing battle right now with Bobby Blazer from York, Pennsylvania. As Bobby Blazer going to work the high side, it looks like he's found a way to get around Mike Wright. And believe me, after watching both of these drivers all season last year, this is something impressive because they are two of the best in this league. And Mike Wright is probably the best at consistency and hitting those marks every time, while Bobby Blazer is the best at exploiting you, for those weaknesses. So for all of the strengths that Mike Wright has, I don't see too many weaknesses. So watching Bobby Blazer work him over is going to be impressive as we go deeper into the night. Zach Osborne now coming in to dance with Bobby Blazer. As Blazer still holding on to the high side, saving those tires here as we've got 25 to go in stage number 1. Bobby Blazer here in the number 90 B-Blades vintage Ford Mustang, hanging on to the top 5. Of course, he had qualified in 5th, and here he runs. Zach Osborne now up 6 positions after qualifying 10th, running in 4th. I want to welcome everybody into the YouTube.com live chat. Let us know who you're pulling for, what you're watching for tonight in the race. Of course, maybe get your friends and family, whoever's here on the racetrack, some extra camera time. As Devil Charger says, I couldn't be further from the truth. Mike Wright is always wrong. And I've got to contest that one for sure, because I'll tell you what, I have talked to Mike Wright, and there are times where he's almost got a crystal ball, and he can tell me what's going to happen next in a race without even blinking. It's incredible to see what he's able to prognosticate, if you will, as he now closes in on Anthony Savignano. We're going to get here right onto the nose of Mike Wright as he tries to close in. This is some AL East action here. Orioles, Yankees going here into turns 1 and 2. Mike Wright stays a little bit higher, and a nice gentle throttle here as he hauls it down the back chute. He's really able to close in on Savignano in the 50, just ahead of him. As, of course, we are celebrating opening week here in Major League Baseball. My favorite time of year, aside from, of course, October, when we've got football, baseball, and NASCAR. These two sports are the best. Of course, baseball just getting started this week, NASCAR getting into full swing. And right now, speaking of full swing, Parker Retzlaff in the 5 car, he is in full swing as we speak, as he is all by his lonesome 2 3/4 seconds ahead of Anthony Savignano. The caution comes out, and waiting to see who might have brought this one out. I don't know who got into who here, as I'm waiting to see anything. Maybe something with Tony Burt. We'll take a look. Tony Burt has Ken Ron just behind him, and it said that he had entered. Yep. Oh, they went to avoid in front of him, and it looks like Ken Ron was able to avoid the rear end of Tony, so heads up driving by him. Then we see Alexander Gangler here doing something similar in the 8 machine. Gangler had a connection issue, So it's been an interesting night so far. Of course, we started off tonight with some technical difficulties here in the studio, and which, why not? It almost always happens when we don't want it to here on iRacing.com. And, of course, tonight, as the session was starting to cycle itself through, that's when all the bad things happen. Michael Astuto leading Dennis Mickelson, Rich Jett in the double natural, that's 77, Tony Burt, Zachary Vaughn, all down pit road as they're going to come down early here with almost 15 laps to go. So about 17 laps to go here in stage 1, as we're working our way toward lap number 75. Parker Retzlaff, of course, our race leader right now in the number 5 Funkaway Chevrolet Camaro. As I mentioned earlier, he actually captured the pole position for Saturday's race here at Richmond Raceway. Of course, he finished in 16th. He gained 24 points, though, no playoff points. But, you know, capturing the pole anywhere at any of NASCAR's top 3 series is really difficult to do. And, of course, tonight, you know, he already set fast lap at 22 seconds. You know, we take a look here at his all-time career, and he's been in the Xfinity Series, you know, since debuting in 2022. He's already got, you know, altogether 10 top 10s and 3 top 5s. Still no wins yet, but right now sits 15th in points on the 2024 season with his first pole of his career this year right here at Richmond. So a tip of the cap to this young man as he gets it done here, as he's part of that, you know, basically that new class of drivers who has gotten involved here in the Xfinity Series. So right now he trails our points leader by 138, but he's got plenty of time to get that rectified here in the 2024 season. Of course, he's racing the number 31 Chevrolet Camaro for Jordan Anderson Racing, born back on May 21st, 2003. So quite a young man. He's got a long career ahead of him, I'm sure, here in the NASCAR ranks. So we're just glad to have him with us here tonight on Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series Racing, live on Sim Racing Media. Dave Regal with you in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth as we take a peek at our YouTube.com live chat. Devil Charger says he's sitting here patiently waiting for the master of disaster, Matt Mackin, to take his weekly race car to the face. And, you know, let's see where old Mackin is. And you know what? I don't want to say he's going to take a race car to the face because he's a talented driver in this league. And now I can't even find him here on the standings. So it looks like we've got a troll here in our YouTube.com live chat. Actually, Matt Mackin is currently on pit road. As we go back, green flag racing, Parker Retzlaff gets another amazing jump over top of Anthony Savignano. Savignano still having to duke it out here with Mike Wright in the 98 as that Baltimore Orioles Ford Mustang just coming up to speed now. You know, nobody here on the lead lap with the exception of Nick Hansen and Kavaja Holt have come down for pit road service. And already another caution. This is the 6th caution here in stage 1. It's starting to be diseased. I gotta say, it's getting pretty frustrating for those drivers out there as this one's going to be, well, let's see, Noah Hamilton quickly hopped to the pits. So Noah Hamilton jumping to the pits. Let's see what brought him down here. As we go to the blimp cam, he was just behind Ron Fitting in the 3 as they come through the front stretch. Looks like Hamilton comes into turn 1. The rear end steps out and just keeps coming around. He's able to corral it and get down onto the apron, but he's decided to get out of the way tonight as, you know, that's frustrating for him. He's going to wind up with an EOL for sure, as that was definitely on him. Of course, we've got some rules about that, as we are just about 10 laps to go here in stage number 1. As these cars get themselves racked, stacked, and ready to go all over again. Here on lap number 65, we're still single file, which means we've got at least another lap or two until we come back green flag racing. As these drivers making their way around here, I'm fairly certain that we're talking about perhaps Dan Moore. I hear it on race radio talking about Dan Morgan's Bluey machine, and anybody with a child growing up in today's world probably at least has some type of a working idea of who Bluey is. I'm going to be honest, I have a basic knowledge of who Bluey is. Thank goodness my kids don't really watch that, but if they did, I'd at least have a clue, that's for sure. When we go back green flag racing, it's going to be Retzlaff, Savignano, Wright, Osborne, Blazer, Alonso, Loga, McConville, Mack, and Joe Lee, your top 10. Of course, Mike McConville also out of that JAR TCR stable from Cape May, New Jersey, here in the number 1 Dynamic Express, number 1 Chevrolet Camaro. And what a sharp-looking car that is. Of course, I told him beforehand that I'm pretty much biased to anybody from South Jersey or near the 215, anybody who waves that Phillies flag during the baseball season. Speaking of which, checking in here with our favorite driver of the night on his paint scheme, Brandon Minto in the number 12. I'm going to call it the Kyle Schwarber-mobile. That's what it is. It's the Schwarber-mobile. Peeking in here with Alex Princeton +5 right now. Ethan Ball up 15 as he runs in 14th position right now. Big mover right now is John Bawalda, after starting 39th, is coming up here in 20th position. So he's up 19 from where he had started this evening. So it's been a busy night for him as the pace car is off. We hit the Geico restart zone. Retzlaff drops the hammer, and we're back underway. As they come out of turn 4. Of course, the flagman up here kind of bored for the time being. He's had lots of action, though, to wave his arms with the yellow flag in hand as they come through 1 and 2. These drivers are all double file here toward the end of stage number 1. We're going to be battling it out now, at least for the next 6 laps, as we're working our way toward lap number 75 in a stage caution. Hopefully these guys can put together a nice green flag run to finish this stage out. As we're here on lap number 70, Retzlaff just matched his best time at 22 seconds on his last lap. Of course, we can see right here 21:99 for Retzlaff on his best time and 21:99 on his last lap. So he has absolutely run a clinic as he's a 10th faster than Savignano. And Savignano just ran his best lap and now second best at 22:14. As we're going to start to see him pull away here from Savignano. 0.8 of a second, and now growing as they hurl it here through turns 3 and 4. Parker Retzlaff leading this race here on lap number 72. Anthony Savignano and Mike Wright in pursuit, but I wouldn't say hot pursuit just yet as things are starting to cool down for the two of them. Anthony Savignano trying to chase down Retzlaff. You can already see that lead is growing lap by lap by lap. You know, .168, now .163. You know, at this point, Retzlaff hasn't seen, or Savignano hasn't seen green on his time delta in at least a dozen laps now. John Bawalda going off track for a brief second here. We're going to take a peek and see what happened. Bawalda in the 51. Oh, Alex Princeton was kind of lost there on the racetrack. It sends Bawalda into the grass. Looks like that wasn't intentional by any stretch, but definitely a case of maybe just some bald tires as things are really starting to smooth out there on the rubber. Of course, I say that, and our race leader's running 22.25 second laps and gaining all the time here on Savignano. As we're on the final lap here of stage number 1, Retzlaff leads us down the backstretch into turns 1 and 3 for the final time in stage 1. He can see the man in the stand with the green and white checkered flag in hand. Retzlaff crosses the start-finish line, and he is your stage 1 winner. He'll be followed by Anthony Savignano, Mike Wright, Zach Osborne, Bobby Blazer, Rodrigo Loga. And it looks like Loga is going to be, nope, there he is, in 6th position. Eugenio Alonso in 7th, Aaron Mack in 8th, Mike McConville in 9th, and Seba Cornez rounds out your top 10 in the number 59. We're going to catch up with Parker Retzlaff as soon as he gets down on the pit road. We don't want to interfere with the leader and coming on down there, as we should see him come down for pit service here as stage 1 is over. He's got 77 laps on these tires, many of them not green flag laps, that is, as this is the 7th caution with 6 cautions for cause in stage 1. So let's hope that things calm down here in 2. And, of course, let's have a connection issue as they come down pit road. Parker Retzlaff slides into box 1 here, as that was what he was assigned. 4 tires and a tank of Go Fast for Parker, as we're going to get a hold of him here in our chat. Going to take a moment now and talk with Stage 1's winner, Parker Retzlaff. Hey, Parker, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
I got you.
Hey, man, listen, great run here in Stage 1, dominating from, of course, you know, the drop of the green flag to when the green and white checkered flag waved. Obviously, you've got this car figured out and dialed in. How does it feel to you in the cockpit?
Feeling pretty good right now. I made a few changes into that yellow there to see if we can make it even a little bit better. So we'll see here in Stage 2, and hopefully we can keep it going.
Yeah, I mean, you were hitting, even toward the end of this stage, some of your fastest laps at a 21.99. I mean, if you can do that late in the stage, I'm going to be excited to watch what you can do, you know, moving forward. It looks like you've got some old tires in front of you, Hansen, Mickelson, and Holt. What's going to be the strategy to get around them? Blow their doors off, or do you just have to pick your spots and do it carefully?
I mean, I think I was talking to them a little bit about strategy, so I think that's a good strategy from those guys to get some track position. I think that's a big thing here. So I don't think they're going to be too far off. It'll probably be a little bit of a battle to get by them.
All right, man. Well, listen, congrats on the Stage 1 win. Maybe we'll see you on the other side if you decide to pull it home here in Stage 2.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, as we're going to send you on back up to the JAR TCR chat. There he goes. Retzlaff going to be restarting here a little deeper in the field from earlier, as he's going to be starting on the outside of row 2 back in 4th position. It's going to be Nick Hansen, Dennis Mickelson, Kavaja Holt, your top 3. Parker Retzlaff in 4th, and restarting on the inside of row number 3 going to be Anthony Savignano in the number 50 New York Stankies Toyota Supra. Glad to have everybody in with us tonight in the YouTube.com live chat. Michigan Rocker saying, let's go Minto. Another Brandon Minto fan. Folks, I'm starting to think that Brandon Minto is the only person here with a cheering section on YouTube.com. Make sure that you get in there and let us know who you're pulling for, what you're watching here in this race. And, of course, if you haven't done so already, make sure that you subscribe. Turn on those bell notifications so that every time we go live on SRM, you get a notification. Of course, we've got 6 nights of racing right now, and it is a busy week for us as we move through tonight. Of course, aside from us tonight, we've got Racers Elite at 7:35 on a Tuesday, and of course Western States Racing League, the nightcap. As we go back, Green Flag Racing Stage 2 has begun, as it looks like Hansen getting a good jump over Mickelson. Is Hansen going to lead a little while here? And, of course, we're going to have a connection issue as we are under caution almost instantly. Let's see what brought this about. This may have originated. Oh, my. There's a lot of red on timing and scoring. It looks like it may have originated around Aaron Mack. We'll take a peek here at the 31. That white and gray machine just over top of Mike McConville. He gets the restart. Oh, it was Seba. Let's see if we can find where Seba might have been. Just looking to see where we can find Seba Cornez, as he has just dropped right out of the way. Right here on the restart, we see Seba Cornez in the Cottonelle target machine. Of course, Cottonelle soft toilet paper, but not a soft, whack right in there to the non-safer barrier on the pit wall side of the racetrack. And, of course, it sends everybody into a fit as they strobe themselves around. It's going to be Hansen, Mickelson, and Retzlaff when we go back Green Flag Racing. We're going to step aside and take a break here on Sim Racing Media. When we come back, we'll talk about our schedule on SRM and, of course, get right back to the action here on Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series.
My name is Leon Kyles. I'm a prostate cancer survivor. I have
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Preen Garden Weed Preventer and Preen Garden Weed Preventer Plus Plant Food block weeds before they start and are safe for use around over 400 flowers, vegetables, trees, and shrubs. Best of all, they give you 3 months of freedom from weeding in just 4 easy steps. You can apply Preen anytime before or during the growing season. But since it's a weed preventer, not a weed killer, early spring is best. Here's how. Start by removing existing weeds and their roots in the area where you want to apply Preen. Sprinkle granules directly onto dry soil, mulch, or stone so that they're evenly spaced. Within 24 hours of applying, integrate the granules into the top layer of soil or mulch or stone-covered bed. Finally, water with a hose or sprinkler or a well-timed soaking rain to activate the protective weed barrier. When activated, Preen creates an invisible weed-fighting barrier just below the soil surface that targets and prevents weed seeds from sprouting and forming roots. People and pets may enter the treated area once dusts have settled and the area is thoroughly dry from watering or first rain. That's it. Now you'll have a beautiful weed-free space and 3 months to do anything but weeding. Satisfaction guaranteed. Trusted for over 50 years, Preen is America's #1 weed preventer brand with weed preventers for every type of garden.
Masker can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom. Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Welcome back to Richmond Raceway. Dave Regal here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. You're watching MNN Xfinity Series action here. And right now we are on caution number 9. That's 8 cautions for cause, as looks like Dennis Mickelson may have brought this one out. We also want to take a look here at Eugenio Alonso eventually, but we see Mickelson in the 25 tangling up here. Whoa, with the 26 of Eugenio, who gets right into him there. So not a good way to get restarted here, as we've had a lot of cautions back to back to back, and there's already been a report here, and we're going to check this out as well, of some drivers maybe dogging the restarts. We're going to take a look here at Eugenio from above, as we just want to confirm or deny what seems to be the problem. As everybody gets underway, I don't see it as somebody accused Eugenio of dogging the restart, but I would say not, as they went 3 wide and managed to keep it together. We can see Mickelson just ahead of him here. Yeah, I don't think that was the issue there whatsoever. Going to take a look at some of our race conditions here right now. 96 degrees on the asphalt, 73 in the stands, so the sun is definitely having an effect on that blacktop as we are side by side. The iRacing.com pace car ready to come back on down pit road one more time here, as the iRacing.com pace car lights are out as we come down the back chute. It's going to be Retzlaff, Wright, Hansen, Savignano, and Alonso, your top 5. As we get ready to roll, we'll take a look here from our drone as we get ready to fire off. The pace car is off Retzlaff enters the restart zone, drops the hammer, and just gets an incredible jump over Mike Wright. It's almost way dominant as Nick Hansen going to try to take the low side here. Mike Wright getting a good jump on the high side on exit, and Hansen nearly washing up into the 50 of Savignano. Savignano has now seen the light as Mike Wright has gotten through here. And, of course, here we are, caution number 10, 9th time for cause. Going to check out and see what might have happened here from John Bawalda's perspective. As we see McConville on the low side, that's the 91 of Brad Gunn behind him. Wow. Yeah, that was punting at its finest. My goodness. This is not a good look for the MNN Xfinity series as we ride along now. Yeah, he just kind of gave him the old Earnhardt there and nosed him out of the way. He didn't wreck him, but he certainly got him out of his way. Hey, Mike, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Hey, Dave, how we doing?
I'm doing better than you. You just got punted. How did that feel?
Can I curse?
You've got 7 words you can't use.
It sucked real big. There, I cleaned it up
See,
for you.
now that was professional of you. I appreciate that.
You know, just trying to relax, trying to get some laps in. We got a ton of laps to go. You know, just trying to ride, and some of these guys need to figure that out.
Yeah, you know, I was watching you know, work around Bawalda there, and it looks like you're going to be restarting alongside of him. I don't recommend that you come back with anything strong for him.
Oh, no. My dad taught me the best way to get back at someone is finish in front of them, and that's what I plan on doing.
Attaboy. That'll get you through. I mean, look, it's been a rough night out here. I mean, 10 cautions, 9 for cause. You know, you've got to figure out how to get these guys to just get to string some good green flag runs together. What do you think everybody needs to do moving forward?
Big thing is stop overdriving 1 and 3. That's the big thing I'm seeing is some people are taking it easy, and the ones that aren't are punting everybody like in the rear, and it's just causing a mess. If everyone can just take a breath, settle down, realize we're only in the 2nd stage. We have 100 laps to go still in the 3rd stage. Let's just get this race in. We should be way further than this right now.
Oh, absolutely. And something that I always kind of look at is people are trying to chase down the leader. They're trying to chase down the car in front of them. You know, right now, I think everybody needs to maybe take a page out of Mike Wright and Anthony Savignano's book. They know that they're not going to get up there and challenge your teammate Parker Retzlaff up there in the lead, at least at this very moment. So maybe it's time for everybody to take a page out of their book and cool off.
I 100% agree with that. Now, if they would just learn it, it'd be great.
All right, man. Well, listen, good luck. I see everybody's side by side, so go ahead and get yourself all ready to rock and roll, and maybe we'll see you here at the end of one of these stages.
Yes, sir. We're putting on a good show coming up through the rest of them.
Yes, sir. As we're going to send McConville back up in there to the JR TCR stable. As we go back, green flag racing here, Parker Retzlaff getting another good jump. You know, one of the benefits, I guess, to being the race leader here at Richmond is you get yourself ahead of all of this mayhem that's going on the racetrack. You know, you look behind you and in the rearview mirror, and let's just take a peek and see what he might see if he looks out the rearview mirror. Retzlaff sees all of this mess behind him, as we ride along here on the bumper. And it doesn't affect him. As long as he stays ahead of that hornet's nest, he's safe up here in the lead. The people who have to worry are back here just a tick closer to the middle of the pack, where, of course, we've got Ethan Ball running right now in 9th position. He's up 20 after starting in 29th from Princeton, West Virginia. Ethan is here basically in the midst of the psychosis, as just about everybody, including Alexander Gangler, has gotten the hammer and tongs out tonight. The number 66 of Chris Custer out of Ohio works the low side now of Big Rock, Illinois' very own Alexander Gangler here in the 8. And Gangler trying to do the 18 proud. I mean, right now this season, he's had a heck of a year so far, as we see Gangler sitting 5th right now. He lost a spot last week to McConville, who we just spoke with. So those two guys are going to be going at it pretty hot and heavy. Gangler trailing Mike McConville by 15 points, and McConville doesn't look to be trying to turn around and take a look at anybody who's behind him. He's focused right now on Mike Wright, who's 38 points ahead of him. A lot of storylines tonight. Of course, here it is, opening week of baseball season. We see Mike Wright in the 98 Baltimore Orioles paint scheme. Of course, we're going to check on some of our other baseball drivers. Anthony Savignano here from the Evil Empire, the New York Stankies, here in the 50. I know there's another Yankees driver out there. I just can't remember where he is right now, as we're going to look for, Brandon Minto not having a great night, as he's back in 29th position and down about 4 laps. But he's still got maybe he's like the real Phillies right now, who the last I checked were trailing Cincinnati by what looked to be about 4 runs here. It's 6-2 right now in the top of the 10th. So somehow they get up there. What in the world is going on? I'll have to check scoring on that as well. They certainly don't belong here in the bottom of the 10th. Must have been a very long 9th inning, as I wasn't able to hear what was going on. But regardless, there's Brandon Minto in the number 12. Chris Claude, of course, checking on him. He's already got the nose and the rear deck lid ripped apart here on the Chipper Jones Atlanta Braves Toyota Supra. You can't even tell it's a Supra, and quite frankly, it would be okay if all of a sudden it just erased Braves from that left rear quarter panel. That would be okay too, as right now Chris is out here in what looks to be a modified as we work lap 109. We've got about 40 to go here in stage 2, as Parker Retzlaff is now starting to lap guys left and right here. He gets his way past Dennis Mickelson in the 25, putting him down another lap. He's got Dan Morgan in the crosshairs, as Morgan is going to be gapped by him by about 14 seconds. So Retzlaff about 8 seconds behind Morgan to serve him his lunch and put him a lap down. Mike Wright trailing Retzlaff by 1.72 seconds. Closest battle right now on the racetrack belongs to Nick Hansen and Eugenio Alonso, as they are fighting it out. Hammer and tongs here. We're going to take a look from Nick Hansen's gyro cam, and we can see that hand action there as he's fighting a loose condition here in the 99. He's got to walk it out of turn 4, work his way around the 25 of Dennis Mickelson, and then put his sights back on Eugenio Alonso, running right now in 6th position. Eugenio, of course, trying to follow Bobby Blazer, who's running in 5th. I mean, Eugenio would like to get another bonus point here as we take a look from Bobby Blazer on back to Eugenio. Blazer about a half second ahead of Alonso, is holding his own up here out of York, Pennsylvania, representing the 717 there in the middle of the state. So good for Bobby as he works his way through this mess. But meanwhile, story of the night right now happens to be Parker Retzlaff, who won the pole in real life on Saturday. Alex Brinson now perhaps bringing out the caution flag as we take a peek. As we see Brinson working just ahead of Tony Burt in the 4. And that may have been a Tony Burt error. We're going to take another peek here. Here's Brinson in the 19. And he just missed. Yeah, listen, that one's going to be on Tony for overdriving that turn for sure. He definitely didn't mean to do it. If there's anybody on this racetrack who doesn't mean to do it, it's usually Tony. But that time it was just bad things happened as somebody just went smoking on by. That's Chris Claude. I don't think Chris is going to make it. I'm just going to run this back and see if we can find where that puff of smoke came from here in the 10 machine. And not that I want to say that it's nice to see the Braves not making it to the end of the race, but here we are. Chris Claude with smoke pouring out the back of the number 10 Atlanta Braves Toyota Supra. He hasn't blown the engine yet. He's able to baby it and get it here onto pit road. And, of course, he's also going to get a penalty here for entering a closed pit road. But at this stage, when you know bad things are about to happen, it doesn't much matter as he puffs on down here like Thomas the Tank Engine, getting back to his pit box. When we go back, green flag racing, right now we're 35 left here in stage number 2. It's going to be Parker Retzlaff, Mike Wright, Anthony Savignano, Zach Osborne, Bobby Blazer, your top 5. As Tony Burt is going to be back here after that incident in 25th position. We see the 72 of Dan Morgan in 22nd. Biggest mover of the night right now is in the double natural, Rich Jett in the Skunky Chevrolet. As this league very Chevy heavy tonight, not a whole lot of Toyota action, a couple of blue oval Fords mixed in there, but many bow ties. As we'll pull that up here on the left side of your screen. 117 laps in the books here in Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series action. The iRacing.com pace car makes the hard left turn down pit road. Parker Retzlaff one more time hits the Geico restart zone, and we are back underway on lap 119. 32 laps to go here in stage number 2 as we get a good clean restart here. It looks like Eugenio Alonso and Nick Hansen in the 99 going to be doing battle. Eugenio closing in fast on Zach Osborne, riding along here with Eugenio out of Buenos Aires, running in 6th position. He wants that 5th real bad right now. Of course, that's another bonus point here as he leads our point standings. He rolls out of turn 2 down the back chute, and it looks like Osborne just gets a really good exit here. And once again, we see Osborne with just a great launch on turn exit. We're going to see it one more time. It looks like Eugenio is really driving the heck out of this thing on turn entry. He goes a little bit tighter here to that yellow line behind Zach Osborne, but Osborne just able to roll that turn a lot quicker than Eugenio. As there's still smoke here, I don't know who that is coming down pit road. Looks like it's going to be Michael Astuto. That was the other Yankees paint scheme as he brings that one down. So, well, it seems like the baseball gods are doing their thing as they take out the 2009 World Series winners on the side of Michael Astuto's car. They get Chris Claude here on pit road. Alex Princeton, the only car on pit road that doesn't have a baseball scheme on it. So maybe he figured out the secret sauce for tonight as Parker Retzlaff more than happy to just go ahead and log some laps as we take a look back here at Nick Hansen. As Hansen in the 99 is battling it out with Mike McConville. McConville gets the edge here as this little 4-car knot means trouble at some point moving forward here. As Hansen is going to now back off of McConville for the time being. That gives a little bit of breathing room for McConville. Don't look now, though. Ethan Ball door handle to door handle with Sylvain Joly as Joly just blew on past Ball and now goes ahead and starts to focus on getting to Hansen just ahead of him. So this whole gaggle of cars here, one flinch, one wrong move, and it's all over as we work lap 125. And I say that just as the caution flag flies for the 12th time here before the end of stage 2. That was Aaron Mack in the 03, or I'm sorry, Matt Mackin in the 03. Wow, Aaron Mack just got hammered. I'm sorry, that was Rodrigo Loga in the 03. And let's see if we can find, from his perspective, as he just hammers the rear end of the 03 and shoves him out of the way, bringing out, as I just mentioned, the 11th caution for cause here before the end of stage 2. Welcoming another fan here into the YouTube.com live chat. Run, Nick, run. So I believe that he's talking about Nick Hansen there, as we see where Hansen is in our standings right now in front of us here in the 99. So Trent Curtis cheering on Nick Hansen here in the 99. We're going to step aside here and pay some bills on Sim Racing Media. We're trying to keep those ads to a minimum as we work here under caution number 11 on the night. I'm Dave Regal, and this is Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series action.
Care. It has motivated us from day one. It's in the meals we make, the hugs we give, and the miles we've traveled. We care for families so they can care for theirs. From our staff and volunteers who provide it every day, to our donors and partners who make it all possible, to the families who've made lifelong connections. Together, we've created a global community of care. One that provides emotional, mental, and financial support for families and their children. And all this care has turned dogs into best friends, long nights into brighter days, moments into milestones, strangers into family. We've built a lot at RMHC. More smiles, more hope, more care. And we plan to build even more. Join us as we celebrate 50 years of RMHC.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second spot, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around, we're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force it off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom. Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Preen Garden Weed Preventer and Preen Garden Weed Preventer Plus Plant Food block weeds before they start and are safe for use around over 400 flowers, vegetables, trees, and shrubs. Best of all, they give you 3 months of freedom from weeding in just 4 easy steps. You can apply Preen anytime before or during the growing season. But since it's a weed preventer, not a weed killer, early spring is best. Here's how. Start by removing existing weeds and their roots in the area where you want to apply Preen. Sprinkle granules directly onto dry soil, mulch, or stone so that they're evenly spaced. Within 24 hours of applying, integrate the granules into the top layer of soil or mulch or stone-covered bed. Finally, water with a hose or sprinkler or a well-timed soaking rain to activate the protective weed barrier. When activated, Preen creates an invisible weed-fighting barrier just below the soil surface that targets and prevents weed seeds from sprouting and forming roots. People and pets may enter the treated area once dusts have settled and the area is thoroughly dry from watering or first rain. That's it. Now you'll have a beautiful weed-free space and 3 months to do anything but weeding. Satisfaction guaranteed. Trusted for over 50 years, Preen is America's #1 weed preventer brand with weed preventers for every type of garden.
Welcome back to Richmond Raceway, where we are on caution number 13, number 12 for cause tonight. As Zachary Vaughn brought this one out just moments ago, we see the 73 just wash up into Rich Jet in the double natural 77. Gets himself turned around. We're going to see one more time here how that all went down. As once again we see Zachary Vaughn wash up into the 77. There's the contact, and all of a sudden he's looking right at the eyeballs of Rich Jet in the 77, who just kind of scoots away and says, well, I've got a race to run and you're not helping. Going to see if we can get a hold of old Bobby Blazer here, driver the number 90, as he's making a return here in a rare appearance here in the Ferda Motorsports stable. Hey, Bobby, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Sir.
Hey, man, listen, I mean, you know, you come back here to run some Xfinity Series action, and this is the mess that you come into tonight. I don't like to talk ill of anyone, but this has been a long race so far, and we're not even, you know, in stage 3.
I mean, if I ran every week like I used to, I'd probably be a little more negative about it, to be honest with you. But I'm just having fun with a lot of the same people still race this league, and racing against somebody like Parker. obviously Mike, Zach, Osborne. It's just fun for me. So I'd rather be under green, but it's getting better. Up front has been good racing, so that's all that really matters to me. But
yeah, you guys have had a great race up front. I mean, I said earlier that I wish everybody kind of took a cue from you, Mike Wright and Savignano, who know that you're not going to just run up here and steal this thing away from Retzlaff. And, you guys have managed to pick your spots, take your time, and move through this. If everybody, for lack of a better term, if everybody thought the way that you and Mike Wright did, this would be one heck of a race.
I don't know, man. Like, Mike's been showing Anthony a lot of patience, and I mean, Parker's in a league of his own, but there's still plenty of time, and you never know. Once, if we get like a full, sort of run here in stage 3, because this could very well go Carlson free after this next stage break, and you just never know with tire setters and stuff. So I wouldn't write Parker's name on a trophy yet, but I don't know, man. Like, it's just part of it. We're all here to race, and it's not all that much fun not racing. But when I'm racing, I'm having fun. So this is what you get sometimes. We got we had to kick 2 people out of the session because it was so competitive. And I've been to plenty of these races that I've only had 20 people or 22 people. So
oh yeah,
and it was more or less the same. So I mean, whatever. It's part of learning and growing. And it's just they'll figure it out.
They absolutely will. Well, listen, good luck, man, the rest of the way. Congrats on running P4 right now. Of course, you qualify 5th, so of course let Mike know that I'll be pulling him down here shortly to chat because I haven't heard from him all night, and I'm kind of missing Mike.
Oh man, well, I'll let him know for you.
All right, my man, good luck as they get back green flag racing. Here we go with now just under 10 laps to go in stage number 2. Parker Retzlaff getting the jump once again. Anthony Savignano and Mike Wright can do nothing but look on here as we ride along with Mike Wright from Greensboro, North Carolina. We can see Anthony Savignano to his right, and Savignano gets a good exit here. Oh, rubs the wall coming across the start-finish line. All of a sudden, that's going to leave Mike Wright up here all by his lonesome. We stayed green after that wall rub here on lap 143, working our way toward 150. As we've had several cautions tonight, of course, only one caution for the stage break. So Parker Retzlaff running away from Mike Wright. This is something that I don't get to say very often. Mike Wright is trailing somebody by more than a second. At a racetrack like this, I expect to see Mike Wright out here doing the Pied Piper routine. And tonight, he seems to have met his match in Saturday's Xfinity Series pole winner, Parker Retzlaff, driver of tonight's number 5 Chevrolet Camaro. And I'll tell you what, it's a privilege to be able to call this race with Parker Retzlaff leading. Is of course, we've had other Xfinity Series drivers pop in with us from time to time. Of course, Ricky Carmichael, the GOAT of all that is motocross and supercross. Trevor Bayne, of course, a Daytona 500 winner. There's not many times I've gotten to say, I'm calling a race with a Daytona 500 winner in it. But Parker Retzlaff being able, recency bias being what it is, being the most experienced here on the racetrack, as he just ran this on Saturday, of course, over there on TV. So, right now it's kind of humbling to think, wow, this is the space that we're in. As we're glad to have everybody with us here in the YouTube.com live chat. Want to welcome you all in, and make sure that you give us a thumbs up, help us to be found here on Sim Racing Media. Of course, we've got 6 nights of racing as we're working lap 147. Of course, tonight at 10:20 p.m. So in about 20 minutes, we're going to be starting the Western States Racing League with Liam Ervig and Sam Hesketh. Then tomorrow night, Roughneck goes live at 7 p.m. with Angel and Sam once again. Racers Elite is also tomorrow night at 7:30, and we just had a scheduling change, so the Moonshiners will no longer be here on Sim Racing Media. Thursday, I'll be back here at the microphone with Daniel Paulus Jr. calling the Racers Elite Next Gen Cup Series. So a busy week, and then, of course, Saturday and Sunday we'll get to later as Parker Retzlaff hauls it down the backstretch here on lap 149, 2 to go in stage number 2, as he already has another driver, that's Dan Morgan, just ahead of him in the crosshairs. We finally get a green flag run to end this stage as Retzlaff crosses the start-finish line. He's got Mike Wright almost 2 seconds now behind him. I never see Mike Wright trailing anybody by 2 seconds unless it's a road course and something freakish has happened. And Parker Retzlaff rolls it out of turn number 4 one more time here through the restart zone, hits the start-finish line. And now we wait for Nick Hansen to cross the start-finish line. He rolls out here in the 99. He's side-by-side with Ron Fitting, and Fitting bests him. And Fitting is going to finish in 10th position. So it goes Parker Retzlaff, Mike Wright, Zach Osborne, Bobby Blazer, Anthony Savignano, Eugenio Alonso, Mike McConville, Rich Jett, Sylvain Jolie, and Ron Fitting, your top 10. Kavaja Holt going to be the lucky dog this time around, getting his free pass as he runs around the outside to get caught back up. He'll go to the end of the line once he gets there, but Kavaja Holt getting back on the lead lap, so he has a lot of patience paying off here. Stage 2 winner Parker Retzlaff coming down pit road leads the field in the Funkaway number 5 Chevrolet Camaro. Of course, some more connection issues as all of these drivers have about 800 places to go and the computer can't figure out where to place everybody. As Retzlaff goes ahead and gets his pit service. Hey Parker, it's Dave up here in the booth. You got me one more time?
I do got you.
Well, I mean, here we are, stage 2. You bring home the green and white checkered flag a second time. So you've already swept the 3 big ones here tonight. You got the pole, you got stage 1, you have stage 2 under your belt. Obviously, nothing doing as far as things to improve unless you just made some adjustments to see how much faster you can make this Chevrolet.
I did make more changes. Me and the whole team made some changes to all of our cars, so we'll see how it goes here. I'm either going to be really fast or I might have adjusted myself out of the race a little bit, but I think we're good. I'm going to try and get back to the lead and run my pace again.
Yeah, something that I don't get to say very often is, Mike Wright driving just behind you in the 98. He's usually the Pied Piper at a place like this where he just goes out there and does literally what you're doing. It's not often that I look at timing and scoring and see a 2-second gap between anybody ahead of Mike Wright and himself. So, at least you've come in here and you've managed to put on quite a show as you've led this race. Now you follow Ron Fitting and Richard Pruitt. Not going to be tough traffic, but, the cautions tonight are killer.
Yeah, I think it's just a short track and everyone trying to get some spots, and, it's just how the short track racing is. It'll I think, all fan out here on this last stage, and we'll probably get some great racing in it.
All right, my man. Well, listen, congratulations on the Stage 2 win, and I'm sure with it, barring some kind of catastrophe, we'll see you on the podium at the end of this piece.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, as we move him back on up there to the JR TCR stable. And I can't resist because it's Mike Wright and it's Richmond. Hey, Mike, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Hi, Dave. You still awake?
Yeah, I'm awake. And my friend Captain and I are standing next to each other here at the desk. So it's been an eventful night down there on the racetrack for you guys. 14 cautions, 12 of them for cause. What's going through your mind as we head into 3?
My hand's getting more work writing down the incident stuff than it is driving the car, which is never good. And it seems like our boy Parker's doing what he should be doing. So looks like we're all just racing for second.
I just said to Parker that I never see anybody gap you by 2 seconds, and he has just come out here, put the hairnet on, and served lunch to this entire field.
Yeah, I would never have thought I would be able to run him down anyways, but it also doesn't help when we go 5 or 10 laps at most. So we'll see. If we went green the rest of the way, he'd probably lap the field, but you never know, right? It's always a chance.
It is. And in a place like Richmond, we expect a lot of mayhem. But listen, pace car's getting ready to peel off, so I don't want to distract you. Good luck the rest of the way, and I'm sure we're going to talk to one another at the end of this piece.
All right.
I'm going to move him back on up into Ferta Motorsports. Stage 3 about to be underway. The green flag waves, and here we go. wide as Savignano, wow. The 90 of Bobby Blazer backed out of that situation almost instantly as we got back to green flag racing. Parker Retzlaff just sliced his way past Richard Pruitt, and now Savignano and Pruitt are going to battle it out here for second. This is quite a little knot of cars as we move through this racetrack here on lap 158, just less than 100 to go now. Contact, as it looks like Zach Osborne just wanted to bounce his way through there. I'm going to run this back. We're going to watch Zach Osborne here in the 16. We see Osborne bounce off the 24. The 98 gets loose. He nearly bounces off the 98 and then slices his way down underneath and then uses the back bumper to hold off Eugenio Alonso. All of a sudden, it looks like Zach Osborne is driving for his life out there. And I don't blame him. He is doing one heck of a job here in the 16, up 5 positions from where he had started. Our biggest mover of the night, though, is my buddy John Bawalda Jr. here. I'm sorry, John Bawalda III. Here in the number 51, as side-by-side goes Alexander Gangler, another one of our big movers tonight, plus 23, as he had started way back in 34th position. Bawalda even further back in 39th, running here in the 51 Chevrolet. And I'll tell you what, it has been a night for most of these drivers, trying to hold things together. After all of these cautions and after all of this mess, it's time to go green flag racing for a good long while as Anthony Savignano now trails leader Parker Retzlaff by 1.4 seconds here on lap 162 as we cross the line. We're going to keep a close eye here on Nick Hansen in the 99. He's getting closer and closer to Richard Pruitt in the 24. It looks like Pruitt's going to hold his own for the time being, but now we take a peek back at Brad Gunn, who's watching from behind and seeing just maybe where he can try to get his own nose in here. He sees this mess ahead of him, and he's keeping just enough distance to react in case something bad should happen. The Aztec, New Mexico native here in the 91, working on lap 163. He's looking just from the outside in here as he gets past Chris Claude. We're going to take a peek here at Claude, who's now down several laps, limping it onto pit road once again. It sounds like he's still got the engine running, but it's not running very strong. We're going to get a chance to talk with Chris in just a moment here as he's going to come in for pit service. As we watch Parker Retzlaff now starting to lead Bobby Blazer by 2.5 seconds. Let's get a hold of old Chris here in the 10 machine and see what might have happened. Maybe the Atlanta Braves paint scheme was bad luck tonight. Hey, Chris.
Hey, how you doing?
I don't want to say that maybe it was bad luck, but maybe it was bad luck to put the Braves on the side of this machine. What's going on with the 10?
It's been caught in 2 catastrophic wrecks is what's happened. It needs some more damage repair. So that's what I'm waiting on right now. Got about 16 minutes, so I may be able to make it out for the last few laps.
Well, 16 minutes, and now we have caution number 15 flying in the air here on lap 166. At least with the cautions in the air, that buys you a little bit more time and slows the field down. As I'm going to take a quick peek here and see what might have happened with Richard Pruitt. What do you think of the driving so far tonight? It seems like everybody is out here for blood tonight.
It seems like there's a lot of aggression, and even more so than maybe the Cup race that we had. I'm really disappointed we haven't had a single long green flag run really tonight. I was hoping that maybe we could get past the stages and be able to. But anyway.
I was starting to think that maybe you'd put a long green flag run together, and it just hasn't happened yet, as it seems like we're just kind of searching through the dark looking for that checkered flag at the end of this race.
Right. That's exactly the way it's been so far. But then again, I'm so far away from the checkered flag, it's not even funny right now. I can't even imagine it at this point. And
well, it's been a rough night, but it's Richmond. I mean, we don't expect to see this many cautions at Richmond, especially in this league. And just for the fans out there tuning in tonight, if this is your first night, this is not the typical number of cautions that we see in this Xfinity series. I mean, Chris, you have built this league out of an abundance of caution and safety, you know, and this is just not on brand for us.
Right, and I mean there will be some things that will come down as a result of races like this, and that's why I try to tell them beforehand that we need to temper those emotions and the aggression, especially on the restarts, in order to keep things going green, because you know, there are penalties that come in the race and sometimes after the race for the actions that are taken with regards to incidents. So we'll probably be seeing some suspensions and that sort of thing as we move along, and then usually that starts getting people's attention, and then we start seeing less and less as we go throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, it's exciting when we get to look down, you know, from here in the broadcast booth, and, you know, of course we see literally, it's funny when I talk about, you know, we've had, of course, you know, we've had a couple of professional drivers in this league make a few appearances, Trevor Bain being one of them, Ricky Carmichael another. Yet we've never had somebody who literally the weekend before was the pole sitter in the real life race. That's something that you can put a feather in your cap. This league has attracted a lot of, you know, truly good and big names, you know, here in the Xfinity series. What do you credit that to? Is that the drivers, or is that your marketing, or a combination of the two?
It's all about the drivers. I mean, if they didn't have good competition to race against, then they certainly wouldn't be coming here. And that's not what my strength is. My strength is organization and trying to get those guys in here and keep them here and interested in racing once they are here. And I'm hoping that tonight's experience and everything hasn't you know, soured anyone. That we do have a couple of new guys that are racing for the first time, and I'm hoping that they'll realize that, you know, this track, regardless of what series is racing it, this one, and especially Martinsville next week, is just, it's tough to handle in a simulator for a lot of guys. And unless you are a professional, or unless you have a really high I rating, you're going to struggle more at tracks like these. And that's really a product of what we've seen, and I'm still hopeful that over time that we will learn to race these tracks better with more responsibility. But it's kind of hard to tell them that right now, especially when we're getting towards the latter part of the race. It's probably not going to, the intensity is not going to go down too much.
No, and I mean, you know, the intensity on the track is what's going to increase as we are back under green. And, you know, Chris, it's one of the things that I've always admired about this league. You know, it's, for lack of a better term, the people who can't keep up with the standards that you set. And you set a very high bar as a league owner. I mean, you know, we have other leagues that I've seen here on the iRacing servers, not that we have them here on SRM, but I've seen them, you know, watching and checking things out, you know, to see who's around. And sometimes it just looks like a free-for-all. And when you say organization is your strength, I mean, your league here is probably among the best organized, you know, from top to bottom. As we work our way here on lap 173, I mean, Chris, you've got a lot to be proud of. Even though maybe it's not that paint scheme tonight, maybe it's not that damage that you've got to have repaired, you still have a lot that you can put that feather in your cap with. So, you know, kudos to you, and of course we appreciate you here on SRM being one of our longest partners here on our nearly disaster there with Chris Custer and the 77 of Rich Jet. You know, you've been one of our longest partners here on Sim Racing Media, and we appreciate that very much. And I mean, you know, when you came on and we were ESPN and SRM, you know, kind of melding together, we only had racing, you know, 2 and 3 nights a week, and right now we're 6 nights a week, and that a lot of that growth comes from people like you and racing like this that gets eyeballs to us here.
Yeah, well, it's been a great partnership, as you said, and I think that it also attracts more people to the league. Also, the fact that it is broadcasted, that's something that a lot of leagues, quite frankly, probably don't have, where they have 3 different series, the top 3 NASCAR series, full-length races broadcasted, and it makes them feel, you know, like they're able to go through a lot of the same paces that the real-life professional drivers go through, albeit not not nearly as extensive, but still running the same schedule and the same number of laps, and so that's all I was looking for in the beginning, is just to try to have as much realism as possible to the real world racing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, this league mirrors the real world as close as anything I've ever seen on the service. And I mean, from the racing on the track to, of course, the voice up here in the booth. And I've always tried to give as much credit as possible. To some of our success here at Sim Racing Media comes because of the opportunity that, you and 2021 Truck Series champion Bob Nestor gave, when you opened the door and said, yeah, sure, if you want to broadcast this Xfinity League, fine. And this became my baby because SNN is home for me. I would never go anywhere else. And, so I know that a lot of this symbiosis that we've experienced over the last couple of years is just, finally making its glorified appearance here on SRM. So I think a lot of things went right, over the last few years, and it's all coming to a head now as we've had some great, names here, some big names, some great competition, and, here we are, week 7, and we're watching some of the best racing now with 70 to go.
Right, and those names don't just end with those that are in the professional world actually racing, but we have some that have moved on to the Coca-Cola Series, the top iRacing Series, also that have raced here in the league. So we've had some really good competition, and it's only improved with each year that has gone by. And I look at it this way: it's like, personally, if I can finish anywhere in the top 10 in any given race, then I feel like I've accomplished something, because either, as you've said over and over again, are some of the best guys on the service, and I want it to stay that way. I still want it to be a place where people can come in that are not as experienced and be able to grow. As long as they're respectful and they're safe drivers, then they're always going to have a place here also. And that's maybe the difference between this league and some of the others, is that mixture that we have. And we certainly have, with the 3 different tiers, with the Truck Series, a way for people that have a lower license to be able to go from that to the Xfinity to the Cup Series, just like real life. And yeah, I've think that we are in the middle of something really good, and I hope that it's able to continue. And I welcome anyone that's listening to this to join, just like I mentioned in the broadcast last night. If you go to simracerhub.com and go to look for the Sunday Night NASCAR League, you'll find our Discord. And if you're interested in doing this along with us, then join, and we will give you a shot.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, want to check out simracerhub.com, search SNN or Sunday Night NASCAR, whichever you prefer. I know I have it bookmarked, but of course that's just because I'm that guy. But right now, Chris, just as a peek behind the curtain, 172 views so far tonight. That's something else that, I talk about. Last night we had more than 300 views during the Cup Series. Now, for a while, Monday nights were more watched than anything amongst the 3 series here, Trucks and Cup and Xfinity, of course. And, now all of a sudden things are starting to even out. I mean, some of the views that we get here on a Monday night are better than anything else that we get on Sim Racing Media. It's incredible to watch, this development. As speaking of development, just a quick aside here, Ethan Ball running now in 15th position. He's trying to hold off Ron Fitting. I mean, Chris, we've been sitting here chatting for the last few minutes, and, John Bawald is sitting here exchanging positions left and right with Rich Jett, and now Rich Jett crawls himself forward. I mean, all of a sudden, maybe it's good luck to have you up here in the booth for a little while the car is getting repaired, but all of a sudden, they're starting to put together one heck of a run of green flag laps.
Yeah. Honestly, if they continue to this, I'm just going to keep my car off the track and just let them go. When I came out to do a few laps, my car was so tight I could barely turn the thing, and Parker had to go like way around me on the outside to be able to get by. And I was like, this is undrivable almost. So, if something happens, I hope it doesn't. I hope we can just stay green for a while. Then I'll go back out and get some more laps in, as long as the car feels better. But for now, I'm perfectly happy just watching the broadcast and seeing, how this race is going to develop. It looks like that we have some heavy hitters for sure up at the front of the field. I mean, guys that have historically in this league been very tough, and with Parker in here, he has given them a real run for their money tonight, and showing, what a professional that he is. And I'm sure that this is something that, even though he wasn't able to finish the deal in the real race, it'd probably be nice for him to be able to finish this one off for sure.
Yeah, I mean, just to your point, I mean, Parker Retzlaff up here in the lead looks back now. I rarely say these words. In fact, it's almost like as if I said I just got around, RJ Root on the racetrack itself. But Parker Retzlaff is gapping Mike Wright by 2.5 seconds, even.
Yeah, and,
you never see
for those that watch this series on a regular basis, that just doesn't happen. I mean, from anybody. So it shows that there is another level, and it may not happen at every track, but he is certainly proven that in real life and in iRacing that he has got this track down to a science.
Yeah, absolutely. And now he's at 2.7 seconds. I mean, he gained 0.2 of a second in less than 2 laps. I mean, he has just absolutely found an extra gear here in the Xfinity Series. So good for Parker, good for you. And, once again, want to thank you for your time and hanging out with me here. You're more than welcome to slide in any time. I mean, for lack of a better term, it's your booth too. But I appreciate you, Chris.
I appreciate you too, Dave. I'll sit and do some admin work for a while and watch and make sure everything's staying nice and tidy. It looks like that we're strung out a little bit more now, so hopefully with no more stage breaks to get in the way, we can take this to the end.
All right, my friend, have a good night. Good luck with your admin work. I know that is laborious and thankless, but I know if anybody can do it, it's you. So thank you, sir.
You're welcome, Dave.
That, of course, the voice of the great Chris Claude, driver of the number 10 Toyota Supra, of course, tonight painted by a team that shall not be named. Of course, we've already done it, but still, Chris really puts his heart and soul into this league, folks. And, without good league owners like Chris, we wouldn't be here on Sim Racing Media. And we left off earlier talking about our schedule, and we left at the weekend. Now, Friday night, no race. That's the only empty day right now on our schedule. Saturday, however, we've got a doubleheader as ISNF goes live at 5:30 Eastern with Liam Ervig and Alan Bergen in the broadcast booth. Then ECR goes live at 9 p.m. Now that's a 3-person booth between Liam Ervig, Alan Bergen, and Emily Urias. And then it all comes down to Sunday night. Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, myself and my partner, my brother from another mother, Matt Metler, and I bring you all of the action from right here in the Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series. And, of course, this week we'll be going to the Paperclip, Martinsville, Virginia, so we'll be staying here in Old Virginia, if you will. And I know that we're both excited. Probably going to grill up some hot dogs, of course, as if we were really there at Martinsville. And, tonight, all of a sudden, we're down to 50 to go as we're working lap number 200. It has been a very long night here on the racetrack. And, I mean, for some of these drivers, they're getting exhausted. Parker Retzlaff nearly 4 seconds ahead of Mike Wright. Mike Wright 1.5 seconds ahead of Bobby Blazer. All of a sudden, we are more strung out than a methadone clinic line. And Eugenio Alonso right now, as close as it gets to Mike McConville, about 0.3 of a second. So we're going to step aside while things have cooled down here, but don't go away. We're going to go NASCAR side-by-side one final time here. 50 to go from Richmond Raceway. Dave Regal in the Sim Racing Media broadcast booth, and we will see you on the other side.
Preen Garden Weed Preventer and Preen Garden Weed Preventer Plus Plant Food block weeds before they start and are safe for use around over 400 flowers, vegetables, trees, and shrubs. Best of all, they give you 3 months of freedom from weeding in just 4 easy steps. You can apply Preen anytime before or during the growing season. But since it's a weed preventer, not a weed killer, early spring is best. Here's how. Start by removing existing weeds and their roots in the area where you want to apply preen. Sprinkle granules directly onto dry soil, mulch, or stone so that they're evenly spaced. Within 24 hours of applying, integrate the granules into the top layer of soil or mulch or stone-covered bed. Finally, water with a hose or sprinkler or a well-timed soaking rain to activate the protective weed barrier. When activated, preen creates an invisible weed-fighting barrier just below the soil surface that targets and prevents weed seeds from sprouting and forming roots. People and pets may enter the treated area once dusts have settled and the area is thoroughly dry from watering or first rain. That's it. Now you'll have a beautiful weed-free space and 3 months to do anything but weeding. Satisfaction guaranteed. Trusted for over 50 years, Preen is America's #1 weed preventer brand with weed preventers for every type of garden.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom. Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As that's still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
My name is Leon Kyles. I'm a prostate cancer survivor. I have 2 adult children, 134, 125, and a wife. And I'm glad to be here today. When I got the initial news of my prostate cancer, it was devastating because I got a phone call from my doctor late in the evening, and I was wondering why he was calling, so I put it on speakerphone, and me and my wife was sitting there watching the movie, and he just came straight out and said, "You got cancer." You know, the first thing that went through my mind was, man, am I gonna make it? So I had a lot of different thoughts going through my mind. You know, I didn't know if I was gonna be able to survive. You know, what was going to happen with my wife, my kids. And, you know, I felt hurt, a lot of pain. Through 211, actually, they gave me the number to Trisha Hope, and which was a great thing because Trisha Hope has been very helpful throughout my process of going through my cancer, going through my surgery. Now it's in remission. I don't have it anymore, no diagnosis. And she really helped me with some bills and stuff like that with a grant that I appreciate very much. She helped me out. Also gave me some referrals to some agencies that could help me out in my city in Anderson. We had at least, you know, probably over the last few months, at least about 6 or 7 conversations where, you know, she would always have an encouraging word to say, always, you know, telling me to be thankful, you know, and just live your life to the fullest, and them the things I've been doing. Anybody that may be experiencing cancer in any shape, form, or fashion, trust God. You have to be patient. You have to make go to your doctor's appointments, and then just, you know, live your life to the full extent. Enjoy yourself, and just keep moving forward because God is there for you. This program is to help cancer patients, and you know, the donations would be gratefully appreciated because they go through a lot of things and they have a lot of doctor's appointments, a lot of bills, things that, you know, they can't take care of anymore because of the job situation, leave of absences. Some people never go back to work. Some people are going through chemo and they need a helping hand. So if you could donate anything to help the Trisha Hope Foundation, it would be greatly appreciated.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Richmond Raceway, where caution number 15 for cause is in the books. Parker Retzlaff getting ready to lead us back to green as he last came down on lap 206 for pit service. Retzlaff gets the jump, and Bobby Blazer thought he was going to try to get up there with him, but Retzlaff just too fast tonight, as right now the battle is going to be here for the podium position tonight. It's going to be Mike Wright and Bobby Blazer right now duking it out, with Anthony Savignano and Eugenio Alonso looking on from behind as we work lap number 219. Just about 30 to go here at Richmond, as Eugenio Alonso chases down Anthony Savignano in this New York Yankees paint scheme from Erie, Colorado, as Savignano trying to get around Bobby Blazer in the B-Blaze Vintage number 90. Parker Retzlaff just laid down the fastest lap of the night at 21.71 on his last lap. He's now gapping Mike Wright by 0.6 of a second. We just had one of our longest green flag runs of the night here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series, as Mike Wright chasing down Parker Retzlaff, trying to get a taste of the lead that he hasn't had all evening long. Ethan Ball right now in the thick of it. This is going to be trouble here toward the back, nearly 3 wide as they crisscross down the back chute. The 73 now getting in the mix. That's the 73 of Zachary Vaughn trying to get behind Alex Brinson. We see Dan Morgan on the low side here in the 72. And then, of course, the 24 of Richard Pruitt just behind him as we look forward. Oh! The 24 just took a race car to the face. What in the world was that? Let's take a look back here on now the 18th caution. What a terrible wreck it was. Not a whole lot of reaction time from Richard Pruitt for him to try to get his bearings as he watched all of that unfolding around him. So 25 laps to go. Something's got to give here as we're on the 16th caution for cause tonight at Richmond Raceway. .25 laps to go here at the line this time by, as Parker Retzlaff gives a little extra throttle here, tries to clear the throat of the 5 car in the Funkaway Chevrolet. Funkaway Chevrolet, that's got a nice ring to it. As Mike Wright going to run in second position, Bobby Blazer, Anthony Savignano, and Mike McConville, your top 5. Eugenio Alonso, Sylvain Joly, Chris Custer, Ron Fitting, and Zach Osborne make up the best of the rest here in your top 10, as Parker Retzlaff has just been dominant so far tonight. Storyline, very simple. Parker Retzlaff walks into a racetrack and then serves everybody lunch. I've never seen a race car driver with his hairnet on in real life, but Parker Retzlaff has served lunch to the entire field tonight, as 17 cars are on the lead lap. With now 25 to go, it's going to be 24 here this time as we hit lap 227 of 250. Stage 1 and 2, of course, both were won by Retzlaff He also had captured the pole, and it looks like he's poised here, barring some kind of catastrophe, to bring home the checkered flag in just a few minutes as we get ready to close this one out here, as not a whole lot of time left in this one as we're here in, of course, week number 6 here at Richmond. Hope everybody had a nice Resurrection Sunday yesterday. Of course, the Truck Series is going to be off tomorrow night as we, of course, mirror the real-life Truck Series schedule. So if the Truck Series is off, so are we on a Tuesday. Which, don't get me wrong, for a lot of these drivers, after going through last night in the Cup Series and then tonight here in Xfinity, for those drivers that are usually in the Truck Series, it's almost a nice little break there as it builds in an extra off night to your racing week. And, you know, we only had one night off here on Sim Racing Media. Last week was one of my busiest in my time here with SRM. It, for lack of a better term, nearly killed me, as, you know, sometimes I'm working here, of course, until later at night. And for some of these drivers, it's even more strenuous. I mean, as rough as it can be up here in the broadcast booth, it's even worse for some of them down here on the racetrack. As we work our way into turn 3 and 4, the iRacing.com pace car gets ready to peel on down pit road. He does. We hit the Geico restart zone right about now. And Parker Retzlaff drops the hammer, and here we go. It's going to be Retzlaff, Wright, and Blazer, as Bobby Blazer and Mike Wright are going to be duking it out here on lap 229. They are fender to fender coming through turns 3 and 4. These are two of the most skilled drivers in this league aside from Parker Retzlaff. And if I'm going to watch somebody go at it like a cat and a dog in a wet paper bag, it's these two. They've got some of the most exciting talent that I see here on the asphalt week after week. And Bobby Blazer in the B-Blaze Vintage number 90, not a full-time driver anymore here in this series, so it's exciting to have him back with us as we are now 20 to go at Richmond Raceway. Dave Riegel in the Tony Trapasso Memorial broadcast booth. Corey Burkett stepping off track, but we stay green. We're going to take a peek here and see what might have happened with Corey. And I'll tell you what, as Savignano has come through here, he's trailing Bobby Blazer now by 0.2 of a second. Mike Wright by a half second in front of Bobby Blazer, still trailing Parker Retzlaff by now exactly 1 second. It is quite a night here as Parker Retzlaff got the pole on Saturday in the real-life race here at Richmond. Of course, the young man driving here in his third Xfinity series in real life, so glad to have him with us as he has added quite a lot to this show tonight. And I'll tell you what, the excitement that I feel when I look down there and see somebody gapping this kind of a field is always exciting. You know, I mean, in the 2024 season, he's raced all 6 races, and he's only trailing the leader by 138 points. He's 15th right now in points. So obviously that pole definitely helped. He's got a pair of DNFs on the season, but has led 27 laps in the real-life series. So, you know, at this point, the Funkaway Chevrolet doing what it does in real life, and that's making things happen for the young man, just 21 years old, born in actually he's 20. He'll be 21 next month, as here we go, caution number 19. Going to take a look here as I don't know. That didn't look too egregious by John Bawalda, but it definitely looked like a horrific wreck, that's for sure. We'll see once again here from the drone as we take a peek at Ron Fitting. Now, Fitting can see the 51 in front of him as we come here, and the 51 just kind of moves down. We'll see if we can get the perspective from Nick Hansen here, as we're going to go right on board with Nick Hansen's nose for this one. There's the 51 of John Bawalda just in front of him on the right-hand side. Hansen gets down here, and it's almost as if Bawalda may not have seen him, or maybe his spotter didn't announce that Hansen was below him. And it's one thing to have that happen, but now, from Ron Fitting's perspective, let's just see some of the carnage that came with this one. As we see Ron Fitting in the 3 car getting some of the brunt of this from Sumter, South Carolina. Now we can see just on the right-hand side of your screen, there's the 51 getting turned. The 3 car checks up, the 91 doesn't, and just shoots him right into the mess. So caution number 19 on the night. It's got to be getting frustrating for the drivers on the track. I know that it can be frustrating up here in the broadcast booth, but hey, we're all here and we're all in this together, as Parker Retzlaff is going to pace us with now 12 to go. Ten laps to go here at Richmond Raceway, as we should see the iRacing.com pace car lights turn out this time by. So we're going to go on up here to the blimp camera. We see Parker Retzlaff now going double file with Mike Wright on the high side. Wright getting a little caution bump here from Anthony Savignano. Bobby Blazer on the low side just behind Retzlaff, as Retzlaff giving plenty of room to the pace car here. As we get set here with now 9 laps to go. Hey guys, let's try to keep it together and get through this all in one piece. I can't imagine we do that, but it would be nice, that's for darn sure. And with now 8 laps to go, Parker Retzlaff leads our field down the back chute and into turn number 3. As we should be in the final stretch of laps here, as long as everybody can keep it between the navigational beacon to get on back here. Sylvain Joly suddenly becoming a factor here, running the 08 in 8, as he's holding off Nick Hansen and Chris Custer in the 66. Hansen in the 99 looking to see if he can try to make any kind of headway here and try to get closer to Jolie. But right now in front of him is an impassable wall between the 26 of Eugenio Alonso and Zach Osborne, who just made a monkey out of me. They suddenly go single file leaving Sylvain Joly here in 7th position now as we go right to the nose of Joly. Joly running in 7th position. He's got Eugenio Alonso on the high side, who now slides back in front of him in the admin box 26. So Sylvain from Salt Eustache, north of the border, trying to chase down Eugenio Alonso. Mike McConville, teammate of Parker Retzlaff tonight, is the closest JAR-TCR driver here in the top 5, as right now it looks like it's going to be Retzlaff, Wright, and Blazer with now 4 laps to go. We can finally see the light at the end of the tunnel in this one. Dave Regal in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, coming to you live from Richmond Raceway with now 3 laps to go as Parker Retzlaff crosses the start-finish line, and we go under caution. Why not? It's on brand for the evening, as Brad Gunn seems to have been involved in this one. We'll take a look here at the 91, and wow, that was not characteristic, but the front nose just pops off the 91 and he backs in to that retaining wall on the inside of the racetrack. We're going to take a look at it once again here. And the 25 checked up in front of the 12, right in front of Brandon Minto. And Minto gave him a little tap on the bumper, and boom went the proverbial dynamite for what should be the final time tonight here. With 3 laps to go, we're going to go NASCAR overtime because, you know, why not? Let's make this even longer as we run nearly 250 laps. We're right now on lap 249. Anthony Savignano running in 5th position right now. McConville in 4th. Bobby Blazer in 3rd. Mike Wright in 2nd. And Parker Retzlaff, your race leader. Now, what NASCAR overtime means, folks, if you haven't seen this before, that means that when the green flag flies, we will then go 2 to go. With the green flag in the air, if something happens between the green flag and the white flag, we will rack them, stack them, do it all over again. If the white flag waves, the next flag wins, or the next flag will finish the race. Whether that next flag is yellow or checkered, we will see the end of the race if we get around 1 clean time here after the green flag flies. Of course, we want to remind everybody in the YouTube.com live chat to keep it pithy. Let's not get nasty with one another. Of course, getting nasty is for the guys out here on the racetrack, not for you guys in the live chat, as Fake Supporter has now just gotten himself a timeout for the next 24 hours. Thanks for giving me that one. Sean Kelly cheering on, let's go Grease Monkey Bonsai Buddy. Trying to do a little bit of defense here, and we're not going to put him in timeout. But, you know, here's the thing. We don't need any negativity. That's not what iRacing is built on. That's not what we're supposed to be doing. You know, quite frankly, iRacing is a community that, you know, all of us from different walks of life are involved in. You know, tonight, of course, we've got everything from a professional race car driver leading this piece all the way down through the average Joe with a steering wheel strapped to his desk in, you know, in perhaps his home office. This is supposed to be, you know, something, let's just say, friendly. No matter how frustrating it gets on the racetrack, it shouldn't be frustrating just to watch the darn thing in the youtube.com live chat. So have fun and time out, fake supporter. And quite frankly, that name seems a little apropos as we go double file, which means that the iRacing.com pace car lights are out. So we'll be going back green flag racing as we come through turns 3 and 4 here in just a moment. Everybody tightened up this time. We're going to start to see a lot of heat here at the beginning. Retzlaff comes into the Geico restart zone, drops the hammer, and once again stuns Mike Wright and Bobby Blazer, as Mike Wright is now going to try to put on that last attempt here at an assault of Parker Retzlaff. And it looks like he and Blazer are still going to have to battle it out for who's going to finish second and who's going to finish third. McConville and Savignano going to run side by side in fourth and fifth. But Parker Retzlaff coming out of turn number 4 crosses the start-finish line. The popsicle sticks go down. The white flag is in the air, and we're racing back to checkers. Parker Retzlaff has dominated this race from start to finish tonight. He's got Mike Wright and Bobby Blazer in tow. Now Savignano sliding in front of Cape May, New Jersey's very own Mike McConville as Parker Retzlaff rolls out of turn 4 one more time. He can see the promised land in front of him. The checkered flag waves, and Parker Retzlaff gets retribution from his race on Saturday and captures the checkered flag right here on Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series action. Parker Retzlaff burning it down as he is so rightfully earned tonight. It has been a long one here at Richmond Raceway, and believe you me, he has earned every bit of the rubber that he's ripping off the bottom of this race car as he goes ahead to celebrate here on the front stretch just past the start-finish line. As we page on down here, let's see where our podium finishers are going to be. Mike McConville, his teammates celebrating with him. Those JAR TCR guys all getting in on it tonight. They can. That is all of the JAR TCR stable right here as we're going to move everybody down here into the broadcast waiting room. Let's see if I can find right here. Well, if you were looking, I got to move Mike down one more slot. I guess it's kind of like a huddle. There's not a rule against it. Everybody can just calm down as Parker Retzlaff here in the number 5 Funkaway Chevrolet brings it home here at the start-finish line. Hey, Parker, it's Dave. Congratulations. You got me?
I got you.
And there's the pop of the engine just to finish it off one more time tonight. Congratulations on the checkered flag. How does it feel to finally come out here on top at Richmond?
It feels good. I mean, I made a couple changes there, and I feel like Mike just kept getting stronger there, and it got me to a point where I felt like I had to go kind of aggressive and try and drive away and get myself a little bit of a gap. So Mike kept me honest all night, and it was overall a really fun race.
Yeah, Mike is one of those drivers that will give you fits, especially because he is a mad scientist with the setups in this league. You know, he'll sit there and he'll tweak that thing and get it just right for himself. And, you know, toward the end of this race, he was starting to close that gap. I mean, at one point you were out, 2 seconds ahead of him, and he started to pare that down step by step. I mean, here you are in your debut in the MNN Xfinity Series, and you come home with the checkered flag. What a run.
Yeah, I mean, it was really fun, and I enjoyed it, and I can't wait to do it again.
All right, my man. Well, listen, we appreciate your time. And before we cut you loose tonight, who do you need to thank for this run?
Just everyone at Funkaway and everything they do for me and the sim world and the real world and everyone at JR and TCR, and hopefully we'll do it again next week.
All right, buddy. Listen, congratulations. We'll see you hopefully next week.
Thank you.
Thank you. As we're going to move him back down here into the waiting room, of course, where he can celebrate with his teammates. Next up here on the podium, not often I say this, but finishing second tonight is Mike Wright in the 98. Hey, Mike, it's Dave. You got me?
Hello.
Well, you finished second tonight, but if you're going to finish second, you might as well do it to, finish second to a professional race car driver in the Xfinity Series. I mean, what a run you had tonight. What kind of adjustments were you making to the 98, and how far away do you think you were from being able to start catching him?
Far away, to be honest. We did have a little bit of a run there, and I was maintaining under 2 seconds for about 15, 20 laps, and then he pulled off. So I didn't really change too much because I felt pretty confident we weren't going to get long runs. So I just had to have something that I could hustle for 5 or 10 laps, which is kind of how the race went. So to be honest, just happy to get out of the race without being turned around, and only 2.5 hours into it. So we'll just move on to the next one. But yeah, losing to somebody that does it for real life, not usually a bad thing.
No, definitely not. And, here you are, humble as always. And I mean, Brandon and I were talking before the race, whether you're leading the race or whether you're, in the midst of mayhem, you are always just so level and consistent. And that's something that I think a lot of people should be trying to garner from you and try to develop that kind of discipline. I mean, you managed to get yourself up here and keep yourself, strong in this race tonight, but unfortunately just fell short of our race winner, Retzlaff. But before we cut you loose tonight, who do you need to thank for this run?
I just teammates for listening to the chat the whole time. I don't think any of us really got a good example of whether we got the cars better or worse or anything. It's just surviving, and unfortunately, it looks like Minto and Mike had some trouble. Blazer was hanging with us tonight, so he and I were kind of working back together, trying to figure out what we needed to do. But it seemed like there was Parker, and then there was me, and then there was Bobby, and then everybody else once we got some laps under it, and so we were just surviving. So thanks for you doing the job, and hopefully you were able to come up with some decent things to work through and talk about to keep it entertaining on your end, because pace laps are boring.
Yeah, a little bit, but we got through it. I appreciate the kind words as always, and we'll see you next week at the Paperclip Martinsville.
All right, have a good one.
And last but certainly not least, on our podium tonight, going to be Bobby Blazer here in the B-Blaze Vintage number 90, making his return to the MNN Xfinity Series. Hey, Bobby, it's Dave. You got me?
Yes, sir.
Well, man, listen, you came up short tonight trying to pick up the win here in a rare appearance, if you will, now. But, at the same time, you still had a heck of a battle going with Mike Wright. If there's anybody that I would be privileged to be side-by-side with, it's the two of you. You guys made this an exciting finish to the race.
Nah, man, you got to give Parker credit. Like, he obviously dominated and won as he should have. So, congrats to Parker. He's been somebody I've watched for a little bit in, like, real life. And it was cool to see him in and get, beat by him. So that was cool, but I mean, I appreciate your kind words as well. I mean, there were times where Mike and I were throwing smackdowns like that when I was a regular racer, so I don't know. I mean, I appreciate your kind words, but it's racing. Sometimes people gotta come in and do that lead pretty much. I think he led every single lap, didn't he? Like,
yeah, with the exception of a couple of pace laps where he happened to get shuffled back after a pit stop.
Yeah. So like, yeah, I'm not. Sometimes that's what has to happen, So that's racing. Virtually.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to race against a professional. You're going to get treated like a professional, which, that's going to mean that, as if he decides to go full time here in this league, everybody's going to have a lot more practice to put in during, the interim between Mondays. So, a tip of the cap to all of you for keeping it, moving forward tonight. I mean, it made it exciting up here in the broadcast booth, all of those cautions or not. It was still something exciting to watch. And, for me, it's always exciting when I get to slide in here and chat with you guys. So congrats once again here on the P3 finish. Who do you need to tip your helmet to at the end of this one?
First off, shout out B-Blaze Vintage. That's me. I still do sell clothing. Since I used to do this league every week, man, I miss it. Honestly, I just don't really have the time to dedicate to it anymore. I've done a lot of new things with my business and brand, if you will, and that's kind of butterflied into some like incredible opportunities. But it means less time to sit here and hang out with everybody virtually. So that's in a sense disappointing. But when I do get to come back and race, I always enjoy it. I was here for Bristol in the trucks and had some bad luck there. It was my fault. In iRacing, I've had iRacing for years, and that was the first time I've ever had a loose truck. So that was cool, I guess. But yeah, to be able to come back and race, and it's a lot of the same people in the league, and this, Chris still runs it and still manages it, which I really, really appreciate him doing that. So I want to tip my hat to B-Blaze Vintage. Chris, my man Gavin made this paint. If you look at the numbers and stuff, it's really unique. I got to shout him out running Racing Designs. Shout out to Parker for absolutely dominating everybody this evening. Shout out to Mike for racing me clean, and everybody else that was racing tonight up front raced really, really clean and fair, in my opinion. I appreciate you broadcasting every week. I know that it's very, very time consuming and it's not easy. So I definitely appreciate that, you dedicating 3.5 hours of every Monday essentially, and maybe more nights with other leagues, but with us. So it gives us a platform to show and share, and sometimes it's, you get dominated by a real race car driver and have 20 cautions or whatever, and sometimes you just have really good races. But tonight I had fun. I'm glad I could be here. I appreciate everybody in the league. Appreciate the competition, and I appreciate you. So I don't know when I'll be back. Maybe Dover, maybe Darlington, probably Darlington, since that's a throwback race. So I kind of feel like I have to be here. So hopefully see you then.
Absolutely, man. Listen, I appreciate the kind words. I mean, I do love spending my time with you guys. I've been with this league now for 3 years, and it is just, it's been a blessing to me. It's been an incredible experience to go from so-so and / terrible driver to so-so and almost okay broadcaster. So I do appreciate the kind words. So congratulations on the P3 finish tonight, and we will keep our eyes peeled and waiting anxiously for you to make your return once again.
Oh man, don't gas me up like that. You're setting me up setting me up too high, but I appreciate that.
I'm just saying, listen, when I see some of those names like yours come back into the server, I'm like, oh man, here we go. And you didn't disappoint tonight.
You're crazy. Nah. Well, you're a great broadcaster, man. I've had the privilege to meet a lot of people who do a lot of media stuff, and there's people who do it, and maybe that's not what they should be doing. And then there's people like you who, just seem to have a natural sort of inkling to do it. So, I mean, I appreciate you, again, dedicating time. And what's this, your fourth year now? I mean, I was doing this in 21, you were doing it, so.
Yeah, third year with the Xfinity series, third year with SRM. And it's been an incredible experience. I've been able to turn this into real radio with WMGH and Lansford, PA, and it's just kind of exciting for me.
Oh, my goodness.
To translate some of this. I got a chance back in the fall to call high school football in real life. So, for me, it's a dream.
Yeah, that's sick. Nah, you do a good job, man. I mean, it's I don't personally, when I rewatch the stuff, I don't take it all for granted. Like, I know you have different camera angles, you have different things you say. Like, it takes time. But anyway, I'll let you go. I appreciate you. I appreciate Chris. I appreciate other people in the league that run it and have it all organized. And I appreciate the support.
All right, my man. Listen, have a good rest of your night. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We're going to move him back on up. Oh, I put him in the wrong chat. We're going to have to fix that one. So we drop him up there into Ferta Motorsports. That, of course, the voice of the great Bobby Blazer, driver of the number 90 B-Blaze Vintage Ford Mustang, making a rare special appearance here tonight. And believe me, that's genuine when I say that when I see some of these names pop up in the race lobby, I'm thinking to myself, well, we're going to see something exciting tonight. And excitement we did have tonight, barring, of course, the number of cautions. But listen, it's been a long night here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. However, before we get out, we would be remiss if we didn't at least go through this final lineup. Parker Retzlaff brings home the checkered flag tonight here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series race at Richmond. He's joined on the podium by Mike Wright and Bobby Blazer. Anthony Savignano and Mike McConville out of Cape May, New Jersey, round out your top five. Eugenio Alonso and Zach Osborne finish 6th and 7th, while Nick Hansen, Sylvain Jolie, and Chris Custer round out your top 10. Ken Ron out of Dillsburg, Pennsylvania, comes home in 11th with Zachary Vaughn in 12th. Ethan Ball and Dan Morgan finished 13th and 14th, while Ron Fitting, Tony Burt, Brad Gunn, John Bawalda, Alexander Gangler, and Sam Bolin round out your top 20. In fact, Bolin, the only driver to finish where he qualified, in 20th tonight. We go on here with Brandon Minto out of Norman, Oklahoma, in that Philadelphia Phillies paint scheme. He finishes 21st, while Michael Astuto and Bryson Alexander finished 22nd and 23rd. Corey Burkett and Dennis Mickelson finished 24th and 25th, while Richard Pruitt comes home in 26th. Rich Jett finishes in 27th with Kavaja Holt, Rodrigo Loga, and Keith Black bringing home 30th position honors tonight, with Alex Brinson in the 19 and Chris Claude, a rare 32nd position for Claude. Aaron Mack finishes 33rd, Seba Cornez in 34th, Claude Ferland from north of the border in the number 43 Axon LED Ford Mustang comes home 35th, with Noah Hamilton, Steve Herring, and Matt Mackin rounding out the best of the rest here in 38th position. So unfortunately for some of these drivers, they didn't have as great of a night as they had hoped to when the green flag initially dropped. But for lack of a better term, that's short track racing at Bristol, at Richmond. I mean, you know, the things that we experience on a short track, there's not near as much room, sometimes not near enough room for some of these cars to do what they have to do, which puts a lot of the onus on these drivers, you know, and a lot of that skill has to be, you know, very disciplined as they work their way through these races. 250 laps is no short order for sure. So I want to thank everybody for making us a part of their evening, for checking in with us on the youtube.com live chat. Of course, a couple of people had to go to the naughty seat for the next 24 hours. It is what it is, but we want to thank everyone for tuning in and welcoming us into your homes, into your phones, and however you may be listening, wherever you may be. We want to thank you for hanging out with us here on Sim Racing Media. And for myself and everybody else here on the SRM team, I want to say thank you and good night. And tomorrow, as you go through wow, couldn't even do this one straight tonight. As you walk down the road of life, please don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.